And welcome to episode 512 of Cinematary. I'm your host, Zach Dennis, and I'm here with.
Michael O'Malley.
Grace Winburn.
And Alison Swafford.
In today's episode, we will be continuing our Patreon Picks summer series with, oh man, I forgot what year, 1928. 1928's The Circus. This one is picked by our longtime Cinematary supporter, Ron Hayes. And we're all hoping that this will be a Patreon pick that he picked that we will enjoy.
I think we could go
only
ahead and reveal
time
that
will
we all
tell.
enjoy.
Yeah.
But there could be some discourse around Charlie Chaplin. We've developed some discourse in the chat about it, so let's a little tease.
Charlie Chaplin? Are you guys familiar with him?
Do you guys think he's better or worse than this guy, Buster Keaton?
It's possible that'll come up. Before then, we have we have very small movies that have not been talked about in any sort of way across the spectrum to talk about.
Plowing new ground here.
Yeah. And let's start with this little micro budget indie hit, The Odyssey.
Yeah, I was really surprised that this one made it to Knoxville. It seemed like it only be in bigger markets.
I thought it was a select theaters type thing.
Yeah, a real steal.
I mean, it kind of was in a way.
How crazy is it that that Chattanooga has the ideal 70 millimeter screen for the Odyssey, and I saw it just at like a LIMAX, fake IMAX screening here in Charlotte, and then my parents went on a Wednesday and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to the aquarium to go to the 70. I'm like, why do you get to see that?
It's so funny that's in the aquarium too. You can imagine them building that aquarium 20 years ago and being like, there's gonna be so much educational content in this IMAX. Cut to the Odyssey.
Cut to actually, we're gonna have 70 millimeter IMAX educational stuff. Which honestly, some of the nature stuff that they show in there is pretty cool. I
love nature IMAX. I wish that were.
It's great.
I wish I were able to see more of that.
Actually, let's talk about the sea turtle documentary that they have in there instead of the Odyssey. I kid. This is the latest from Christopher Nolan. This stars Matt Damon as Odysseus. I'm not going to go into the plot of the Odyssey. It's 3,000 years old.
It's about a guy who goes on an Odyssey.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, it's you probably know the plot. If you don't know the plot, I don't know, go back to school. Read a book.
Read Emily Wilson's book.
Yeah. Get angry.
It's good. I like Emily Wilson's book.
You got Matt Damon, you got Tom Holland, you got Anne Hathaway, you got Samantha Morton, you got John Bernthal, you got Benny Safdie, you got all the people. Charlize Theron, you got Zendaya, you got
Elliot Page, yeah.
Yeah, Elliot Page. You got all the people.
Everyone is here.
Stars are here.
They are all there. Hard to think of someone who's not there.
Michael, what did you make of the Odyssey?
I thought it was fun. The Odyssey is a story that doesn't mean a lot to me personally, but I also always enjoy when I encounter it. I used to teach excerpts of it to high school freshmen, and I enjoy the basic rhythms of the Odyssey. Odysseus sailing the seas, coming in disguise, massacring the suitors, all that stuff. I don't know. I just think that stuff is kind of inherently.
Speaking of suitors, I forgot to mention Robert Pattinson. He's the best part of the movie. Yeah,
he's the funniest part of the movie too. He's playing a very good Antinous. Is that his name? I'm blanking on the head antagonistic suitor.
Is it Antinous?
Antinous, maybe. I don't know.
I was like, that's my boy Rob Pat.
But I don't know. I find the basic rhythms of the Odyssey story exciting and fun. And those are all here. And a lot of it is cool. The Cyclops is this big puppetry thing. Cool looking. The sequence where Odysseus raises the dead and from Hades is very cool. That's all really nicely done. There's some good flashbacks to Trojan War stuff. The you know, he gets the suitors in the end. He shoots the bow through the fucking axe heads. Like it's
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
like I like that shit. Like I don't know. Like, and Christopher Nolan's pretty good at spectacle. And so I think like the big spectacular moments work. There's like a broader like theme about like kind of like the breakdown of social mores and like all this sort of stuff that like the movie is kind of you know, recontextualizing the Odyssey as like almost like an anti-war film or something. And I don't think that stuff works as well, but I think it's fine to put it in the story. It didn't bother me that it was there. And I think it doesn't really get in the way of like adapting the book, which is also about kind of a sort of breakdown of social mores as well. So I don't know. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree on like the kind of anti-war bit that it goes on. I didn't find it wasn't that I disliked it. It was not as compelling as it probably seemed on paper.
Well, and it's kind of
It
like at odds with the Odyssey, which kind of has to end with this
super
climactic, you know, cathartic violence, which is awesome. Like it rules. Like watching him like cage match all these suitors, like
yeah.
it's good, and but that doesn't feel quite as you know, in sync with
Yeah.
his
Well,
guilt.
it's very like and I think it's more like it's being processed for like a modern audience, you know, where it's like, oh, like it's this, you know, brooding, tortured psychological man who, you know, I've seen a lot of writing that's tied it together with Tenet and Oppenheimer as like
Yeah,
these incredible geniuses that I'm using in air quotes, who, you know, perform their genius and then realize their genius was wreaking havoc on the rest of the world. Um, which I don't really get from Tenet because Tenet's
Much like
just
Nolan.
yeah. Tenet
yeah.
is Tenet about that,
Tenet's
but
Tenet's well, first off, I just rewatched Tenet. Tenet's his best movie. That
it's
movie's
good.
so good. It's
People
so
slept on
good.
Tenet, but they should go back.
People are screwing up not watching Tenet. It's amazing. But it's like, you know, so it kind of gets into that ground that I just don't find again, it's not bad. It's just, I didn't find it very compelling in this sense. But I agree with you. I think it was good. I was entertained. It's one of those that if you're gonna go see it, like you should just go and see it in a theater. You shouldn't wait. Um,
Yeah, it's never
you
going to be
sh-
better than watching it in a theater.
yeah, you could watch it at home. It's not gonna be very good. You should just watch it in a theater, and that can be your one time. Because a lot of those like big moments are big and worth seeing. You know, whether you're in 70 millimeter IMAX or regular IMAX or just in a movie theater. Like it just with like the sound systems and stuff like that. The Sack of Troy, the Cyclops, the suitors, the, you know, the going through, you know, the sirens and all like all of the he hits all of those big set pieces. I was telling people after I saw it, it reminded me a lot of like a lot of Cecil B. DeMille,
Yeah, there's a lot of
like,
that in this. Yeah.
you know, like Ben-Hur, like big sword and sandal epic, you know, of the 20s and 30s and 40s to it because it's very like I find it very thin when it's not let's just do a cool big sequence. Tom Holland is a really bad actor.
He's pretty boring as a
He's super
Telemachus.
boring. He's so like perfectly made for Marvel. Like he
I
just
will say that like I think there's an argument to be made that it kind of works on a meta level because like Telemachus is supposed to be this kind of like man child who doesn't really know how to deal with like, you know, his role, which I think is maybe fair to say of Tom Holland in this role as well.
I guess I don't know his he maybe should talk to his wife about getting a little bit better. She's good in this movie. I don't know what to tell him. But yeah, overall I like it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's got its flaws, but I don't know. You're not really if you're going there for like a riveting insane script that's just going to keep you on the edge of your seat. You're on the edge of your seat because there's going to be cool movie magic
Right.
stuff.
It's
That's what you're
like
here.
it definitely takes out a lot of the things that make the Odyssey like a complex and like interesting work of literature.
Yeah.
But while also keeping some of that stuff in ways that are kind of funny, like one of the things my students always responded to with the Odyssey is that like Odysseus fucks up a lot in the Odyssey. Like everyone remembers that he gets out of the Cyclops cave by his own cunning, but no one remembers that he just feels the need to like taunt the Cyclops as he leaves, which is what causes Poseidon to like curse his journey. And that's in the movie still. Like this like supposed genius like pointlessly provokes Poseidon, and all his men are like, dude, why'd you do that?
Wait, I thought that the Poseidon and the gods were basically not in the movie.
We see Athena because that's Zendaya. The other gods are like implied. So like he in the movie, unfortunately the Cyclops they don't do the no man like little wordplay, because the Cyclops doesn't like speak intelligibly until like at this one point. But he still like tosses a rock at the Cyclops at the end or something really stupid like that.
He does a very stupid thing.
And then he's like, I'm Odysseus, bitch. And like
everybody's like, what the fuck?
And then all his men are like, dude, why'd you say that? Now Poseidon's gonna curse us. And then it like cuts to like them like being in this tossed storm. So it's like heavily implied that Poseidon is there,
Yeah.
But it's not like a big guy rising out of the sea with a pitchfork.
Yeah, it's not like Clash of the Titans, where like somebody like rises out of the sea with like a 6-pack and is like, I'm Poseidon.
Dude, that would be awesome though. Like missed opportunity, cool. Because every big guy with a 6-pack is kind of cool in this.
Like Michael Caine just like rises from the ocean. He's like, oh, I'm Poseidon,
Yeah. So anyway, like if you go thinking like I would like a very faithful adaptation of the Odyssey, no, this is like when they made the 10 Commandments, which is not a very good biblical adaptation, but it's kind of like
pretty fun.
But we want to see the 10 plagues, right? And you go, it's not like a very like amazing adaptation of the themes of the Homer, but it is like you want to see the Cyclops, right? And you see the Cyclops.
Yeah. Yeah, and go see it in the theater. It's making a bunch of money. They put more effort into this than they did the Spider-Man movie. So
the Spider-Man movie still made like 10 times what this movie made.
Yeah, the Spider-Man release is the second biggest film release of all time.
Yeah,
that is insane to me. Yeah. Anyway, that's a different thing. I've not seen that.
That's movie. A whole. Yeah, I don't want to touch that. Odyssey, it's still in theaters and won't be until the end of time. I don't know. It's going to be in theaters for a long time.
Making money, yeah.
Yeah. I saw they're like they were talking about one of the 70 millimeter theaters in New York is literally like running at 24/7 because people are buying tickets. They're like doing 2 a.m. screens and stuff.
I can't imagine seeing this movie at 2 a.m. I gotta say, like,
oh god, I would. Yeah.
Between the hours of 2 and 5 a.m., you're gonna be watching the Odyssey by Christopher Nolan. No thanks. I like this movie, but not at 2 a.m.
All right, this is like the Odyssey but for non-monogamy. The Invite. Is that a transition that works?
Unlike the Odyssey, everyone stays in the same location in this movie.
The Invite, it's the latest film from Olivia Wilde, who also stars in the film. She is a couple with Seth Rogen, and they have invited, or she has invited, their upstairs neighbors, who are played by Edward Norton and Penelope Cruz, downstairs to their newly renovated apartment in San Francisco.
Yeah, because he's like biking up that big slanted street and I don't know what's that iconic street
which is
called?
The crazy location to be biking in, to be honest. That's with all the hills.
Yeah.
But they invite them down for dinner, and machinations follow. Plot machinations follow. That's just kind of how I've been keeping the log line, vague enough. But Alison, what do you think of The Invite?
I thought it was great. I liked it a lot. I don't think that we need to be super coy about what the movie actually entails plot-wise. I feel like this is the premise, which is that so the couple that Penelope, or that Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen invite over, played by Ed Norton and Penelope Cruz, reveal that they are non-monogamous.
Well, they reveal it because the only thing that they know about this couple is they keep hearing like wild sex noises through the ceiling.
Right.
And so Seth Rogen brings that up at one point, and then they're like, well.
Yeah, and it is revealed that the sex noises are not just coming from the two of them, but there are other people involved as well. So Ed Norton and Penelope Cruz end up propositioning Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen for a sexual encounter, which is, I think, a very irresponsible move, to be honest, considering just how much of a like cluster bomb it seems like Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen's relationship very clearly is.
It does reward you with extremely funny moments.
Oh yeah. Very funny movie. I think the movie is like really successful at pulling like a lot of different kind of contrasting emotions out of the audience. Like it's very, very funny. It's also very, very sad. It's very, very stressful. And very, very sexy at times too. Like it's kind of bouncing a whole lot of tones. And Olivia Wilde kind of directed the hell out of this movie.
For real.
You know, I really did not like her debut, Booksmart, and I heard so many negative things about Don't Worry, Darling that I just didn't see that. But this seems like a pretty extreme glow up from her. I mean, she's filming something that could feel like a play because it's almost exclusively set in a single apartment. But I think that like the blocking and like the camera work here is really, really well done. Like there's so much mileage she gets out of like choosing to like film two characters talking to one another with like another character standing between them and stuff like that. Like the dynamics of the room and like who's standing and who's sitting and all this stuff is like always very meaningful and has some sort of a palpable effect on the dynamic of the scene.
Really good editing too, like some like really great like cuts. Like, do you remember? It's near the beginning of the movie before the couple comes in, but like I don't even remember the context of it. But there's like a cut and to they're like Seth Rogen has been talking and Olivia Wilde says something. There's a cut to her and she's like pointing at the oven. Do you know what the shot I'm talking about? Like it's I don't even remember the context of it, but it's a great cut.
But there's also lots of great cuts to like people having nonverbal like facial reactions to things that other people say, and like there's just like so much nonverbal communication that is happening here. Also, I think it's worth pointing out the score of this movie is really fantastic. It is by Devonte Hines, who also did the score for Queen and Slim, Palo Alto. I've not seen those movies, but it is, I want to say, I think I saw this online somewhere, exclusively made with a single cello. And really, really effective use of that, and especially in like kind of like the stressful moments. Like the first, I would say like 15 minutes of this movie is just like Seth Rogen and Olivia Wilde having like this kind of rolling argument that is kind of keep switching topics because like they can't talk about anything without going right for each other's throats. And like there's just so many great like stingers and sort of atonal noises and just dissonant notes that are being played on the cello that really kind of like put you on edge through that entire experience. And then whenever things do kind of start to like mellow out and like people are pleasantly drunk and chemistry is flowing, like it does kind of like take on this buoyancy to it. So there's a lot of dynamics here, despite the fact that like we're dealing with a very limited palette. But I thought it was fantastic. I really, really like this movie. It's gonna be one of my favorites of the year, I think.
One of the just back to the music. Well, I think it's Hall of the Mountain King.
Yeah,
that they use when they finally reveal that they're non-monogamous, and like it's just like that's playing in the background as Olivia Wilde and Seth Rogen are somewhat reacting to it like children, and they're just like,
yeah.
Oh,
it's the first time that they don't seem like enemies.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
very like it's a very comedic moment where they're
Yeah.
just like both like looking at each other like
There
Yeah.
is like a there is like basically 3 stages of the movie. The first is like a kind of funny, but mostly kind of like tense,
Mhm.
like a, comedy of manners or whatever at the beginning where they're trying to hide the fact they've been having an argument and are
Mhm.
tiptoeing around the sex stuff. But then there's like the middle sequence, which is like basically a sex farce, like, or it becomes
Yeah.
like that, just for about like whatever 30 minutes or whatever. And I thought that stuff was so good.
Yeah.
I honestly, I've seen him in a lot of stuff. This might be one of the best movie performances for Seth Rogen.
I
I think
agree.
Um,
it's easily like I don't even know what I
like
would consider.
yeah, like he has a lot of like funny moments, like Seth Rogen funny moments that that if you like him, like he plays them very well. I feel like he plays them like at a very good tone, like it's not like overdone or I think he gets it to a good level, but he also I think handles like the drama, like the fighting and like the tense moment. Like I think he also handles that really really well. I came away like I enjoyed him throughout the movie, but came away really impressed with his performance.
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
like a latent aggression that this movie finds that like retroactively like feels like, oh, that's in a lot of Seth Rogen movies, but this one
Hmm.
actually like uses it really productively in a dramatic sense where he's like simultaneously like quipping and being funny, but you can tell that there's like this gnawing thing inside of him,
Hmm.
that's
Mhm.
They
motivating
only
that and giving it a
the
bite.
he's tried to like do that before. There's been things like what is that like the police movie he did very early in his career, like Defend and Report or whatever.
Oh yeah, observe and report.
Observe and
Mhm.
Report that he like is trying to like kind of be on that level. This I don't know. I've seen him in enough stuff now, and I've watched some of the TV that he's been doing recently. I mean, Nancy and I are big fans of one of the shows that he's currently doing on Apple. But I thought he was. I don't know. I just thought he was really good, and like everybody, all four of them are very good in this. Edward Norton and
Mhm.
Penelope Cruz, I think, are just such like pros that they they're kind of I feel like for the most part doing what they need to be doing and like sell a lot of the scenes. But I came away really impressed with both Olivia Wilde, who's been somebody who I don't dislike her, but like has never like been an incredibly compelling performance to me. And I thought both she and Seth Rogen were both really good.
I think what Edward Norton is doing is really interesting. He's not as surprising, like you said, because he has such a storied career. But like the specifics of his character are really tonally complex
Mhm.
Hmm.
because at times he seems kind of like almost like sage, sagacious,
Yeah.
sage like, but then he'll like veer into this almost like self parody or something. Like there are moments when this guy seems like weirdly like naive and like
Right.
His name's Hawk.
Hawk. Uh,
Yeah.
but other times he'll like there's a long monologue about like why he's named Hawk like later in the movie, which is like incredibly sad and moving. And then later on after that, he kind of becomes like takes a back seat because they make fun
Hmm.
of his name again after that story, and then he kind of becomes this just like almost like an aw shucks kind of like, oh well, I just thought this would be fun, sort of thing. And I,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know, that could have been weird if he wasn't playing it right, but he really plays that kind of tonal fluidity really well, I think.
I really like
Yeah.
how around this area you're talking about, Michael, we get like a very brief glimpse at what he and Penelope Cruz's relationship is actually like.
Yeah, she like breaks character and like yells at
Yeah,
him.
right. Like it's a very, I would say, very good movie about relationships and kind of like the complexity that exists within relationships and sort of like examining the differences between people who engage in monogamy versus non-monogamy and kind of pros and cons of both of those approaches to doing relationships. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, it is like brutally honest. It was hard to watch in a lot of ways, but very very powerful. I thought.
There's a great scene in it where Penelope Cruz and Seth Rogen adjourn to his office because
Mhm.
they're gonna have
I knew
sex.
you were gonna bring up this scene.
It's because it makes me
It's
laugh every time.
fantastic.
It's so good, and like
The whole
and
time he's
Penelope,
just saying thank you, thank you.
yeah, like Penelope Cruz, who's just always so stunningly, amazingly beautiful, starts to like take off her clothes. And Seth Rogen said I saw in an interview that he ad libbed the whole like he just keeps going, "Thank you so much, thank you so much for being here," you know. And I'm like, yeah, that's how you would react. He's like, I can't help it. I'm like Penelope Cruz is stripping in front of me, and I'm questioning why I'm even here. And he's like, thank you so much, thank you so much for being here.
While playing the Sade album Lovers Rock,
Yeah.
which chef's kiss, amazing needle drop.
Yeah, there's like a thread in the movie where he's like, he was in a band that was like a one-hit wonder, and they keep teasing that they're gonna play his song, and they never do, which I think is like kind of a funny bit of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
anti-comedy. Because I was waiting for like the song to be kind of funny when they played it, but they never actually let you hear it. So it's like a noodle incident sort of thing.
I wonder if he's playing it, but acoustically, like or like on the piano, like the song he plays on the piano. I wonder if that's the song.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you can't really. It's because he describes his band as like pop punk kind of
Like,
like 2000s kind of style. But I just like I wonder if maybe that's the song is there. The other thing I was thinking about while watching this movie is I wasn't a big fan earlier this year of the drama.
this is a great counterpoint to the drama.
I think this is like an such an adult, like grown up. There's actually like a really compelling, like there's great writing in this compared to the drama. It's really good. I wasn't a big fan of that outside of Robert Pattinson and Zendaya's performances, but I thought this was wonderful. This might end up on my top list as well.
Well, and to
Yeah.
Allison's point, I think one of the things about the drama is that it lacks the honesty of this movie. Like
Mhm.
something that I kind of waffled about with this movie was where this movie ends seems like the only place it could have ended based on the beginning. And I thought as I was watching the movie, I was ready for there to be some sort of like surprise where they have like some sort of like I don't know. I'm thinking of like Bob and Ted and Carol and Alice, which this has been like compared to a bunch. And that movie kind of culminates in like a series of like new frontiers for who those people are. Whereas this movie ends with their possibilities as foreclosed as we saw at the beginning, in some ways, at least in terms of their relationship. And
I think it's somewhat ambiguous, but I do ultimately think the relationship is doomed, sadly.
yeah, like
Mhm.
I think the relationship, I think the way that the movie ends is I took it as their relationship is done. And like
Yeah.
you see the beginning of the movie and you're like, yeah, these people are in trouble. But then
Yeah.
the middle of the movie almost like promises like maybe there is a new path for them. And by the end of the movie, you're like, no, that path isn't really available to them.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think that makes it better than the drama because the drama does something similar, except it doesn't follow through. Like it wants to keep the relationship available to these characters so you can have like a
Yeah.
pseudo happy ending that I think rings false in the drama.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, the invite's still. I mean, it's still playing at theaters near me at AMC. So if you can see it,
Mhm.
definitely check it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it'll be one we'll probably revisit later this year as we talk about some of the best ones of the year. Speaking of movies that we talked about near the end of the year. No, that's not a good transition. Speaking of movies where members of Cinematary went to cast parties in
Hmm.
Toronto.
Is
Speaking of
that
movie,
is that something we were speaking of?
I don't know. Or
Yeah, I went to the
speaking
cast party for the
speaking.
invite. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I was at the Odyssey party. It was great. Me and Patton's. But I don't know.
Maddie's secret.
I got that invite. Grace.
I know everybody listening has listened to the Checkout Cinema podcast about Maddie's Secret, but so Grace, I'm gonna save you to the end to kind of like put us all straight on how we feel about this movie because I thought you spoke um really well about it in that podcast.
Thank you.
I went to this, a lot from your recommendation of seeing it from Tiff. Um, I really love this. This is now Maddie Secret is probably in my like top five or whatever of the year just so far. Um, it's like what if uh, what if Douglas Sirk and John Waters got together and directed a Lifetime movie? I guess if you would want it to be that way about food influencers. For those who are unfamiliar with the movie, it follows Maddie, who's played by John Early, who is also the writer and director. And Maddie works at like a food uh, content
Gourmet
hub,
bee.
or maybe
No,
uh,
Gourmet bee. That's
Gourmet
the
bee.
name of the
Gourmet Bee.
place.
Oh, Gourmet Bee. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Run by Connor O'Malley. Thank God. Love him.
Time to make some content.
Gotta make some content. And she's there washing dishes with her friend, played by Kate Berlant, because you can't have a John Early joint without Kate Berlant.
We'd be looking
And
for her around every corner.
yeah, and Maddie ends up one night making a video and posting it on her own social media. It blows up, and she becomes one of the featured chefs at Gourmet Bee. And is like rocketing to stardom. There's a the boar, which is this version of the bear in this movie that is wanting her possibly to be one of this chefs who is consulting on the show. But then a long kind of festering struggle of Maddie's festers back up, and she ends up ending up at a I don't know the right term for it, clinic,
Inpatient. Yeah.
Yeah.
inpatient clinic for food disorders. Um, yeah, I think this movie, I really got on the level of it. It's very like I caught the level of satire. It like I feel like makes fun of food, Instagram food influencer culture in a pretty pretty adept way. I really love John Early as a performer. He's always really interesting, whether it's just like a comedy special, things like the characters, like different characters he's playing. Um, he's overlapped a lot with like Tim Robinson and those folks as well. And so it was really good. I thought the writing was strong. There was a lot of directing flourishes that maybe we'll talk about later that really impressed me for being a first time movie. I think that it's for a very funny movie. It also handles this melodrama that's kind of painted with a very movie of the week, Lifetime kind of brush that can seem disingenuous. I never really felt that way. I felt like a lot of what happens in the second half of the movie felt very genuine. And even though there is this kind of twinge of satire still to it, like I felt like a lot of the struggles that Maddie goes through and like how she handles them and how it's portrayed in the movie felt very real and emotional to me. So I really was a big fan of this. Michael, Allison, what did y'all make of Maddie's Secret?
I guess I'll go next since I feel like I'm not quite as positive as you, but not where Michael is at. Spoilers.
Outed.
Yeah, the movie has like a really fun sense of camp to it. You have John Early playing this character in drag, essentially, and like a lot of the humor of the movie comes from like just people like effusively like complimenting her appearance as like, oh man, she's just such the most beautiful woman in the world, and also like, what's that?
Are you saying that that's like comedy or that like are you saying that that's the
I'm
joke?
saying it's knowing and done tongue in cheek. It's
really
John Early.
See, this is where I land with the movie, but we'll get into it later.
I mean, that's where I feel like a lot of the laughs were in the audience that we were sitting in, but I don't know. But maybe we should just go ahead and get into Michael's thoughts. What are your feelings about this
Michael,
aspect of
what
it?
problems do you have with this content that's
I
being
mean, I
supplied to us?
ultimately, I didn't connect with it. I don't really like TV movies or Lifetime movies, and I didn't feel like it was. You evoke John Waters, but John Waters is really outrageous and out there, whereas this was
Mm.
not. This is kind of like a scrupulous recreation of this thing that I don't really care about. So I think that's probably the core problem. But also, I didn't find it funny, or not very funny. I mean, there's things that are kind of like arch and stilted and like a little bit like camp, but I had a really hard time pinning down like what the joke like this whole there's like a weird like this movie is kind of archly recreating this format that like it seems to be positioning as like a target of satire, but then when you get into it, or at least when I get into it, I'm like, what is it satirizing about this format? It seems to be sincerely appropriating this format, and not in a way that is necessarily camp in a John Waters way, where the idea is you push it to this extreme, and not even in a Douglas Sirk way where there's like this lushness of like the saturation of everything, including the emotions, is just turned up. I just felt like it felt like when like Will Ferrell did that like Lifetime movie or whatever, and I just feel like it's like doing air quotes around everything without. But then like if you're just doing air quotes around everything but not really transforming the material, it just feels like you're doing the thing. And I didn't find like the John Early in drag funny. He was just there. And so like if that was supposed to be a joke, I didn't find the humor in it. It just felt like he's playing this character very sincerely. And I don't know what there is sadder like in terms of humor there. And I just
I w-
didn't
I would
connect with it.
say, yeah. Well, we talked about it a little bit after you saw it, I think, and like I think a lot of that satire is coming from like food influencer culture. And so like I read a lot of Maddie, especially once she becomes like a featured chef, and a lot of the ways that people talk about, the people who are like making these food videos and things like that on Instagram or TikTok or whatever have this like this try to or have this but like manufacture this like aura around them, and this like this lifestyle and this kind of luxury and like like relaxed nature to just then like making this very like complicated or far just this large supply of food.
But
Yeah,
people
not
like her because they view her as being more authentic than that usual, very
right.
artificial thing, right?
I
And
got
that's
that satirical element of it. Like I think it's pretty pointed in like, satirizing the content creation machine. Connor O'Malley is there, maybe doing the only like true like John Waters-esque performance, he's like shouting the whole time and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
But to me, the thing that I wasn't like, so that is the text of the movie, of the plot, is about food influence, about eating disorders. But what I'm not connecting with is the stylistic choices of how to depict that. Like, I don't understand the
Mhm.
point or the joke of making it like a TV movie. Like, it just feels like you made a TV movie to me. And not and it even does the things that I think are kind of cheap about those movies. Like, she has a one big like emotional therapy scene, and then it cuts to her immediately making improvements, cuts to you're all better now, Maddie, you're discharged, and like the kind of like
Mhm.
cheap like emotional catharsis that papers over really complex issues in the interest of like making a clean like dramatic arc, stuff like that. Like I think that the movie just does, and I'm like, to a certain extent it feels like satire because it is kind of like simplifying that journey in the way that these movies tend to simplify it. But I guess with satire, I usually think of there's some sort of exaggeration being done or whatever, and it didn't feel exaggerated. It just felt like I wanted to make a movie like an after school special was. And I don't know. Grace, you guys talked about this a lot on your podcast. I thought y'all had a lot of good things to say. So I'll pass it on to you though. I don't want to be too negative here.
No, thank you. Well, first, thank you both for listening, and thank you both for being so complimentary. Janine and I, we really, really, beyond just like enjoying it, there was a lot that we found, that there was a lot that I found new this time through. And there was even more that I found to love. And Janine and I were both able to pull a lot more out of this film than we really, than originally before. But I mean, that's what happens when you see something a second time. I do think that it does satirize. I do think that it accomplishes what it set out to do. And really what I think it set out to do was, I think it set out to make just a genuine, heartfelt movie about whatever. Like, I think this could have been, this could have been something else entirely. They could have gone in a different direction. They could have made something else, but I think they wanted to make something real and something earnest. And I think that that's really what they accomplished. I'm trying to think, like, can I repeat some of the things that I even said? I'm having a hard time. I feel like I was in like a flow state when we recorded that, but like, what did we really talk about? We talked about like how sincere we felt everything was. We talked about how genuine all of these scenes were, and a lot of what made us laugh was really just the delivery. And I think what they do is, rather than satirize, I think that they really replicate this sort of like stilted line delivery of the after school special, or of the Lifetime movie. I think that that's where a lot of the humor is.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I think that that's what's funny to me, is that these are extremely funny actors: John Early, Kate Berlant, Connor O'Malley, Eric Rothill. And instead, they deliver these lines. It's like you could have added another layer that, like, John Early is Sandra Oh
Bernhard.
And reprising her role as Maddie Ralph. Like, there could have been like another layer of distinction between these characters, because of just how genuine they were, and rather how like really technically proficient I feel like these line reads were. Like when Maddie is so kind and so sweet, and she's like, would they let me into this dance class as, an ally? Like, that was hilarious. Like, that's hilarious. Like,
an ally?
An ally? Like, and I think that John's performance as Maddie was also really essential to the play. Sorry, was also very essential to the film. And I don't think that the joke, I didn't notice, and Alison and I, we were in the same screening, and I wasn't noticing people laughing at the compliments towards Maddie, because I don't think that that's played for laughs. I don't think that that's intended to be a distracting element. I don't think that that's meant to be a statement in any way or the other. I genuinely think that John Early takes on Maddie as a character like he would for The Characters, the television sketch comedy show that he had multiple different characters for, or if he was playing, I don't know, Tregorian in The Seagull. Like, it is a character, and he approaches it with real intensity and nuance of character. And he really pulls out a lot with Maddie, that she's struggling to maintain control, she wants to be perceived in such a way as just the slightly tussled, oversized sweater. Zach, you brought up a really good point about this whole aura around food content creator, or just content creation in general, wanting to put forth a very calculated image. And I think that this was all extremely calculated. This is a calculated exercise in what can comedy be, what can comedy look like. And to the John Waters aspect, there were, I feel like, some crazier elements, but yeah, I mean, nobody's munching on dog poop, and we're not shooting a gun at people. But I think that the more, like, I think it's maybe like a more understated John Waters-esque approach to like the crazy lesbian codependency, or to like these three witches that exist inside this inpatient community, those three girls that Maddie makes friends with there by the end. They represent some sort of like almost like Grecian chorus or something. But I think that they accomplished their original goal, which was to make a sincere movie about something that mattered to them. And I think that what they were interested in was like the technical efficiency and maybe like the technical, no, I'll stop there. The technical efficiency of these Lifetime movies to get a complete narrative out. And then, you know, to play around in there. And then, you know, anything else that we read onto it is us as critics. But, you know, maybe they did or didn't accomplish the satire, but they did make exactly what they had hoped to. So
Yeah.
When sitting in the theater, I did find it very funny and entertaining, and like had a good time with the audience. And like as I've gotten some distance from it, I've been a little bit less enthusiastic about it. And like now that we're having this conversation, I do kind of struggle to pinpoint like where exactly is the joke, like what is kind of the source of the humor here. I do think that like John Early playing Maddie has got to be a factor in what is funny about this. Like Kate Berlant hitting on her constantly as like a lesbian who's actually hitting on like a cis guy in drag is like funny, you know. But
well, and there's like a John Waters element to that too, with like Divine, you know, as you know, being in, you know, it struck me as that, except Divine is like this larger than life persona, whereas like John Early is playing this not naturalistically, but like any actor would, you know.
I mean, he's playing it in a heightened version of sincerity, it feels like to me. Like Maddie almost feels like a Disney princess or something, you know.
And she's supposed to. And that's like her facade of control that she's supposed to put forth. He calls it sweater. He's like so obsessed with these content creators that like get on.
They have like their cup.
They have their little cup, or they have their really big cup, and their tiny little hands are around it, and their sweater is pulled up like up to the fingers.
Hi everybody.
Hi, just waking up, need my coffee.
Yeah.
You know, that very
like, with full makeup on.
Camp. Like that is ridiculous. Nobody is like that, but it's because the camera is on, and because that's their persona. That is the image that they want to put forth, and that again is like Maddie's method of control for controlling this eating disorder. It's all about control. It's all about, you know, not to like serenity prayer the house down, but like God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage, you know. But anyways, you know, it's her, it's a performance, and it's her trying to influence you into believing that you know, I'm just a regular girl who just like loves to cook, and food is a form of storytelling. Like it's
but she is that. Like the movie sincerely positions her as that. Like that's not a satirical thing.
Also, and then undoing that when we get into the mental inpatient care, when we get into the like inpatient care, it totally undoes that. It totally undoes that, and it's like, Maddie, that's all a total like farce. That's a lie. You have to be real with yourself. Can you be real with yourself? Can you be honest with us? And I think that like the humor is just like so sly. It's just like a, you know, and I do think that there is humor. I think that it's hilarious that Vanessa Bayer's character is like so genuinely in love with her nurse because he's nice and he's there to take care of her.
I don't know. That was like that was really sad to me. I got to be honest. Like that kind of depressed me.
But like nobody's getting like, that's the kind of humor that like nobody's really getting hurt over. Like
she literally
that's kind of a she does literally die.
She's in love with him.
But that's kind of another form of what I was talking about a second ago, where like what's funny about that is he's like so obviously gay.
Yeah, right? I mean,
and
but
she just doesn't see it.
I guess what's funny is that if that were uncommented upon, that might be like a funny joke, but like the characters are ruthlessly like making fun of her the whole time for it, which to me, like adds a weird dissonance. And I don't know, like even in the, like you're talking about like how the food culture kind of like falls away when she goes in the mental or like the inpatient facility, but the culmination of her arc in the inpatient facility is her preparing food for everyone in the inpatient facility. So it's like she's like healed, like her relationship with food is healed through this inpatient facility rather than it being shown as some sort of like farce. And I think like it's her love of food is sincere.
I do think that it's sincere, but I think that and so like this is where Janine comes in, and she's like, I think that it's all false. I think that she figured out how to win. I think that her preparing food in inpatient care is her way of exerting control over food again, but this time in front of her therapist and the people that are there to help her, to show, look how I can handle myself around food. You guys can let me out now, right? Like, I'm totally fine. But I think what it does is it does a lot more to like open up the tightly controlled, like this it like loosens her grip on things a little bit more, and we can see inside like what she's hiding. And I don't think that like she's fully healed, but I think that she's on her way to it. But what it does is I think it does challenge her to interact with like the worst parts about the really hard and messy parts, like the parental abuse that like her eating disorder is born out of, in a way that like she would never approach previously. Had she not gone to inpatient care, she would have continued to ignore that and to tamp that down and to try and control it. And then it would just be like a matter of time before, things got out of control again. And, then she would just try and restrict herself even more. But I think that this, the inpatient care does reveal that like the control that you think you have over your eating disorder now, maybe you need to re-examine it rather than like you're healed. And I understand that there's supposed to be like a second one, Maddie's Promise.
I couldn't tell if that was a joke or not in the
know.
video Q&A afterwards.
Why not? Because I mean, I do think that this is like a very like a clean success, and that we're able to pick it apart like this does speak to like much more interesting discourse than I feel like the conversation that we had around the Odyssey was.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's an interesting movie. I just, like I said, it just didn't connect with me. I guess I didn't get it, to be honest.
Disorder and then conquer it.
Yeah. That's your challenge?
Michael's Secret.
I look forward to Michael's Secret. Maddie.
He liked the circus.
Maddie's Secret is available on digital now, so you can watch it at home or rent it if you would like to. We're gonna take a short break, and then we will be back to talk about old Charlie Chap, the Chap Man,
C Chaps,
and the circus after this. And we're back with part 2 of episode 512 of Cinematary. In this part, we're continuing our summer Patreon picks with 1928's The Circus. This was picked by Ron Hayes, who I think has seen a Chaplin movie or two. The Circus, 1928. It was a major commercial success. It was the 7th highest grossing silent film in history. It made $3.8 million in 1928.
Is that like
no,
to
Spider-Man
that date or
3.
in general?
Huh?
I was saying like up to that date or like taking into account every silent. I guess there weren't too many after 1928.
I'm going to pretend it's bigger than Spider-Man, the new start of a day or whatever it's called.
Start of a day.
AM, get ready with
AM, whatever. It was nominated for 4 awards. This is weird to me. Nominated for 4 awards, the very first Academy Awards in 1929. However, the Academy removed Chaplin from competition to present him with an Academy Honorary Award, specifically for, quote, versatility and genius in writing, acting, directing, and producing The Circus.
So like your movie was too good to give those other awards to?
Yeah, it's like, sorry, man, like you're so good, we gotta like give it to Wings. Here you go.
Wings is pretty good though. I'll stand by that.
It's good. In terms of Chaplin's career, this sits in between The Gold Rush from 1925 and City Lights, which he made a few years later, which is also just one of the greatest movies ever. Well, so it's a little hidden, I think, in his oeuvre. To take a term from Grace.
Mhm.
This film about fun physical comedy, the 10-year production was arguably the most stressful period of Chaplin's life.
Wait, 10-year production?
10 month, excuse me.
Oh, okay. I was
10
like, oh
years to
my
make
You
a
imagine?
god.
70-minute movie.
That's why they gave him the
No
honorary
way he
award.
had
They're like,
no
way to go.
He
Genius.
worked a decade on this.
Physical catastrophes. A major fire destroyed the main set early in the shooting. A violent gale destroyed the circus tent set. Those violent gales, man. Laboratory errors ruined thousands of feet of exposed film stock. And the film's signature prop, a massive circus wagon, was stolen by a group of college students for a prank. All in the middle of this, Chaplin underwent a bitter tabloid-heavy divorce with Lita Gray during production. The IRS froze his assets over alleged back taxes, fearing the state would seize the film negatives. Chaplin smuggled the film reels across state lines in coffee cans and hid them in Nevada. And production was halted for nearly 8 months while Chaplin suffered a nervous breakdown. His hair famously turned white during this stretch. Um, you also have the perfectionism. He actually learned to walk the high wire, trained by Henry Ringling, and performed the dangerous tightrope scenes himself. And for the lion's cage scene, Chaplin entered a cage with a live lion roughly 200 times to get the required takes.
Oh my god.
Key influences: vaudeville and traveling shows. Chaplin drew heavily on his early career in British music halls and traditional European mime traditions. The core premise contains a brilliant piece of meta commentary. The tramp is terrible when he tries to be funny on purpose, but hysterical when he is just trying to survive. It's Chaplin poke egging that's not a word. The mechanics of performance art and slapstick logic. There's a direct lineage between this and Jacques Tati, Jackie Chan's prop-based stunts, and Rowan Atkinson's Mr. Bean. So that's a little bit of all of Chaplin to a degree. This one, I saw some Tati in this one though, for sure, like Jour de
Yeah.
Fete. Um, and the Funhouse chase sequence was influenced by Mirror Maze scenes or has influenced Mirror Maze scenes across cinema for decades, including Orson Welles' The Lady from Shanghai, all the way to John Wick Chapter 2.
You know when they go into a mirror maze in a movie that some good shit's about to go down. It's like when they
Right.
get on it's like when they show a shot of a train going across a bridge, you're like, oh man, here it comes.
Here we go. The tightrope and monkey sequence was Pete Chaplin balancing on a high wire without a net while escaped monkeys climb onto his face, bite his nose, and pull his pants. It's a masterclass at escalating comedic tension. Then, of course, you have the lion cage sequences as kind of slapstick highlights in this. And it's a Chaplin movie. You have the bittersweet ending. Unlike many typical Hollywood comedies of the era, the tramp doesn't win the girl, recognizing she loves the horseback rider and tightrope walker Rex. He arranges their marriage and helps them rejoin the circus. As the circus wagons roll away, it leaves the tramp sitting alone in the dusty, deserted ring. Picks himself up, flicks his cane, and walks toward the horizon. But the horizon, unfortunately, in the middle, which is not good. It is one of Chaplin's purest, least sentimental character beats. So yeah, the circus. This is the third time I've seen it. Grace, though, I want you to kick us off as a Chaplina. That's the female form of Chaplin.
I think the female form of Chaplin is just Una. Um, and
I like Chaplina.
Chaplina. This was my second time seeing this. I saw this first in Dr. Chuck Malin's class.
What's up?
He had a Chaplin and Hitchcock capstone class where he applied auteur theory, of course, to Alfred Hitchcock, as many people did, but also to Chaplin. And everything relevant and essential that I learned about Chaplin, I learned from Chuck Malin, and then I had the pleasure of learning a lot more about Chaplin upon my 2 trips to Italy for Days of Silent Cinema Film Festival, Giornate del Cinema Muto. There's always something new about Chaplin. His study on him seems to be ever expanding. And it's because of how remarkable and truly singular He was as a performer, a writer, a director, a producer, distributor, a personality, a businessman. Truly, he is remarkable, and he can be a very difficult person to talk about. We made jokes earlier about his unfortunate
proclivity.
When it comes to underage women or young women, or and that's really difficult and murky to talk about. But with the circus, what's so interesting is his tramp character, and how disarming and charming he is with women. He really does, as the tramp. He is. Please bear with me when I say this. There is something effeminate or feminine about the tramp, in that he's not respected in the same way by the male characters. There's something slight to him. He's got a walk. He's got a look. There's makeup. But
he's a little different.
He's a little different, but the way that he's able to constantly act as protector for women in his various roles as the tramp. In early Tramp, he is trampish, and does leer at women and chases after them. But in some of the, when he really starts to get going with his tramp character, he does have, there's like a real kindness and respect that he gives the women that the other men don't, and the women do gravitate towards that. And then also the men treat him differently. They beat up on him. They abuse him, and not much in the same way, but similarly, as they do with Myrna, the horse rider girl, the circus master's daughter. She, poor thing, is constantly beaten, berated, and deprived of food. Then the tramp, he's beaten, he's berated, he's humiliated, but he is able to stick up for Myrna, and they develop a closeness and a friendship, and one that is very important to the two of them, because it means that they're not alone in this circus. It means that, if there's struggle, there seems to be a friend, someone looking out for their well-being. And I think that that is true of the tramp and just about all of his other movies. When we have City Lights that comes later, sure, yes, he's in love with the flower shop girl, but there's this real desire to protect and provide, which is very charming. And then, and so that feels like at odds with what we know about him and his proclivity, as we said, for younger girls. This character seems to be the opposite, or rather maybe this character is the chaplain that he sees himself to truly be. That, no, I'm not preying on these women, I'm helping them, I'm genuinely looking out for them. Anyways, this is a tangent, but Circus, hysterical, nonstop laughs, and he does it every time. I was never not laughing. I watched this again last night at my bar. It was empty, on my iPad. Hilarious. And then there were some people that sat down at the bar where, like, I had my iPad propped up and I'm laughing, and they're like, "What are you laughing at?" And it's like, you wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it.
They might. My kids walked in for the last 20 minutes of this movie and just started laughing at the monkeys and stuff. So
that's great.
They might.
But Chaplin's timeless.
I agree.
It is. But
I showed some Chaplin to my baby sister when she was very, very young. We watched Modern Times, and she was probably like, I don't know, 6 or 7, something like that. And she thought it was really funny.
This is a tangent, but I took my kids to see the new Minions movie, where there's a Modern Times reference, and so we came home and watched that scene from Modern Times.
So you're like, you got to see it right, kids. You got to see it right.
Well, no, like Jarvis, my son, was asking about it, and I was like explaining, like, well, those are all like things from like old movies, And so he was like, what was that like? And so we watched just like the little 5.
What was it like in the 20s, Dad?
100 times in the
For a
30s.
young age. Yeah.
Well, hey,
that's
shout out Minions for teaching Jarvis a little bit of something.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry, Grace.
Oh no, I was the only other thing that I had was that I attended this lecture on Chaplin's proficiency with special effects, and like his technical efficiency with special effects comes before him with Lumiere brothers and Gaumont Pathé, and how his expertise is a continuation of that. So again, just like a real eye for technique and also pushing the boundaries. But the scenes where he filmed, this is where, I can be wrong. I'm not perfect, but I was told that Chaplin did not go in the cage with the lion, except for that close up where the lion is like right there on him. And that was a much older lion. Not a spry and hungry lion. That was a well-fed older lion. But the one where the lion is sleeping in the cage and they're on opposite ends and it's kind of a wide angle shot, I was told that the special effects technique that they used was they developed the film twice. So first, the bars in the film helped to separate the frame. So what they would do is they would film the scene with the lion in the cage with the bars, and then they would only develop like one side of the film, and then they would only cover like half the gate, like what's it called, the film gate. They would cover like half the gate and project it, take the picture, take the film, record,
That's
and
so cool.
They would go back and then cover up the other side, but line it up with the bars, and then there's Chaplin. And then when they would run it through to develop it, it looked like with the frame that he was in there with the lion the whole time. And because you notice like there's so much like the bars, it's hard to look between the bars, but that helped to really separate and make for perfect lines and make for a much cleaner development. So then, I can imagine, I don't know how, and you said like 200 times you did these takes, and then you wonder how many of those were before and after the negatives were scratched at the photo lab. That really contributed to it. But so maybe I'm a little wrong, maybe I'm a little right, but
could have just been some myth making on the part of Chaplin or the estate.
I want to believe that he went into that cage with the lion 200 times, but also that filmmaking technique is cool enough that I guess it's like a acceptable alternative.
Craig Barron was and I'd like to shout him, Craig Barron, if you're listening and you're out there. He gave a really incredible conversation on or visual or discussion topic thesis symposium on special effect techniques in silent cinema, and took it from Lumiere brothers, Gaumont Pathé to Chaplin, and then all the way through to Scorsese and ended it with Hugo. But I learned the most about Chaplin's special effects technique from that conversation. His use of split screen, the dual developing matte paintings for sets, and then hanging like vertical sets to like build these big, enormous, and very full images. So
nice. Alison, this was your first time with the Circus?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of the other big Chaplin movies, but not this one. So glad to cross it off the list. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I do think that it's a little more like just straight comedy to me than some of Chaplin's other stuff that has kind of like more of an emotional core, or maybe has more like kind of socio-political commentary. on its mind. The like central romance to me felt pretty thin, but I didn't mind that because this movie just kind of feels like an excuse to throw a bunch of gags out there. Chaplains at a circus and crazy hijinks go down at the circus.
Yeah.
You guys have talked a lot about the recurring gag of the horse or the donkey that just like comes charging in from out of frame and chases
I love that
them
so
away.
much.
Just like on site.
Yeah, I love the mirror maze spit. Very impressive. I also have no idea how they hid the camera. I don't know if Grace, if you have any insight on
They
that.
didn't talk about the mirror scene in Circus.
Yeah, I don't
Dang.
know.
I have no idea. I feel like there's like, and that's what I mean when I say like new scholarship is constantly coming out.
Yeah,
Because I learned about, and I can't even repeat it, but I learned that there is a point, like in a camera frame. I mean, the technique on this is insane. Where like, if you put the camera at a certain angle, then like, I don't know. I can't even really recreate it. But then it's like,
yeah. You never see the floor, so maybe it's really low and
like
pointed up. I don't know.
It never moves, and so I feel like that's what that was that like there's this one point where like if you are able to angle the camera, then you're able to do everything up here, but then like you never have to move the camera to capture that. But I don't know. Maybe that's something that I'll learn later on. But or maybe somebody hasn't quite figured it out yet, because that's another thing is that
maybe
he's pretty proprietary with a lot of the stuff that so
yeah.
I don't think Chaplin gets enough
secrets.
I don't think Chaplin gets enough credit as like a visual stylist. Like a lot of how I hear people talk about Chaplin is through kind of like the writing and themes of his films and like the development of the character of the tramp. But I think like a lot of his movies they're just shot in a really lovely way, and have some really inventive like camera stuff. Like the mirror scene is very good. And like even like the end, which I think is kind of like a dry run for modern times, like that, because the ending of modern times, they also walk into the sunset in a way that I think is a bit more moving. But like even then, that's a really lovely little like ending, just stylistically, walking away from the camera into the into the distance.
The way he shot the scene in City Lights, right, where he's like skating around the department store.
No, that's like, Modern Times.
That Modern Times, yeah.
Yeah, I love that scene.
When he's skating around and he keeps going toward the edge, and it's like this like mirroring effect that they use.
That's matte painting too, and that's where they told me about like the camera point is that they were able to like paint that set, put it like very very close, and then the camera is extremely close to that, and then it's all happening out here, but that sort of trip photography or trip or whatever.
Yeah, Gold Rush has some of that stuff too.
Yeah,
I think it is really powerful to end with that he leaves from like it's the center ring, so like that's where like he doesn't depart with the circus,
right?
It leaves him, and then instead of staying, steps out of the ring.
I do think that. Go ahead.
I really like the ending of Circus. I think about that one a lot, where it's just like everybody, the ending where he's, kind of given up that dream, if you even want to call it that, kind of gives up the thought about being with the girl, sets her up with this other guy, and then like the whole, they're like, oh, get in the last car, we'll get on the way, and he just like stays back, and everybody leaves, and it's just like him in this field. And it's like for the last like hour plus, you've been like this has been a whole world, and now it's just a blank field. And like he kind of sits there and like ponders it for like a couple seconds, and then he like gets up, he does the thing with the cane, he like shakes himself and like walks off. It's just like, all right, like moving on.
I like the ending of this a lot, and I do think the tramp often doesn't have a lot of psychological complexity. He's kind of like a pure soul usually. But like, I think this is one of the rare movies where he is given psychological complexity. That's a very, like the ending of him deciding, to not pursue the girl anymore and to, make sure that she can get married to this guy that she's had interest in the past. Like, and him like purposefully choosing. It is kind of like noble and all that sort of stuff, but it is like a lot more complexity. Like even the end of Modern Times, which I think is a better ending, but like Modern Times' ending is the same as the movie, where like time after time after time, like his character is just thwarted in his attempts, and the end of the movie is like, well, we're smile, we're gonna get up and walk away. And this movie doesn't have an ending like that. Like this movie has an ending where he makes a decision that is complicated emotionally. There's and City Lights, which has like just such a sublime ending. The complication is the purity and simplicity of him compared to like the complexity of the situation. Like this is one of the few examples I can think of in Chaplin's filmography where the tramp character is an active agent with psychological complexity of this level. I think
that he had that in The Kid.
Yeah, that's, now that you mention it, that's there too. Yeah,
but to your point, Michael, like there is kind of like a depth to the decision that he makes at the end, to the point where like I didn't understand it, and like I had to go to our Slack channel and ask y'all about like what exactly happened here, and like why did he make the decision he made. Like there's stuff going on with character motivation that is beneath the surface, right? Which I think is like part of why I was confused, is it didn't feel like I was given much insight into that psychological complexity up to that point.
I agree that it's kind of like an out of nowhere like wave of melancholy. But
yes, Zach?
I kind of read it as like it's less like it's like when she comes to him after to say, hey, I'm running away from the circus. He's sitting there, with like a kind of little fire and is trying to like hobble something up to eat, which because the whole entry point into the tramp character in this movie is him trying to find something to eat. I love the sequence where the kid has like the hot dog eating from the baby, and then he like grabs the brush and like puts the sauce on it, and then eats it. It's so funny. But like you like, at least for the tramp in this movie, that's where he comes from, is like this place of like just kind of like blanket survival. And so I kind of read it as like he really likes this person and cares about this person, and he's kind of like, this life's tough. It's like in that moment he's like, this life's really tough, like you probably won't have food tomorrow, like we don't know, like it's all a mystery. And because it's almost just like, okay, well, like wait here, let me do something real quick, and it's just like he runs and is like, well, I got to save this person because it's not an easy life. Like this entire movie I've just been trying to like survive.
There's also the element of like he's supposedly kind of saving her from being the victim of domestic abuse by marrying her off to a guy who can defend her or something. I was a little Grace, when you were talking earlier, I was wondering how early do we get information that she's being beaten? Because like I remember that happening at the end of the movie, close to the end of the movie. But is that how the character's introduced?
Immediately.
She gets slapped pretty quickly.
And then her dad pulls her aside and he's like, you missed the hoop. He tosses her.
Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah, I think like when Chaplin meets her later, I wasn't putting it together that was the same person.
And then he meets her. She's denied food for missing that. So that's another thing, is that like the food component is that he is struggling to provide himself something to eat. She has like, she can eat, but like it's being withheld from her. And so, they're alike in that respect, but the only difference is that like where her dad can deny her food or not, the tramp, it has her, she would be completely food insecure. So I think that that's like another thing to add to his protection of her, but it's immediate, the abuse that she suffers at the hands of her dad, for her what's the word, her inability or any sort of like performance hesitations or lack thereof, and so constantly then Tramp watches her get handled by her dad, slapped around because she ate his food that he gave her. that he shares with her, and then he gives her an egg. May I offer you an egg in these trying times? You know, just always trying to help and look out for her in these very small ways. And it is with food, it is security, it is stability and safety. But there are all these attempts, and they're very fleeting. And then when he loses his position at the circus, it's like that was really the only way that he could provide for her, and then he's cut from it because he doesn't really have much of a talent, not in the same way. He doesn't have the same sort of longevity that a tightrope walker or that horse dancer girl would have. You know, audiences are fickle, but a tightrope act that'll always sell. You know, so
I love Chaplin's face. Going back to the beginning real quick, like he always sells these bits really well. When like he figures out that the guy who's put the money in his pocket, like he finds the money and it's just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and then he like notices the guy, and the guy he's just like, and then like sprints off.
I think the funniest bit of the movie for me is like during that big opening chase sequence when he pretends to be like an animatronic.
And like hitting that guy, and eventually the guy just passes out.
It's so good.
The guy is brain dead at that point. I laughed the hardest when he overheard the tarot reading, and then he realizes that I'm the handsome man.
Yeah.
And then in comes in this other clown, and he kicks him right in the gut. Just kicks him to the chest, and then starts running around, and then he starts wreaking all this havoc. And then he comes back in, and then he sees the clown again and kicks him in the chest.
Yeah. I love how he's a little bit of an asshole in this movie. Like
because he's also the talent, and he gets to behave now in a way that everybody else was treating him. And now he's got a little bit of money, he's got a little bit of fame, and now he can be just like, you know, an asshole like everybody else. But he's still really kind to her, to Myrna, the entire time. Like he doesn't let that change him. But Alison, to your point, I do feel like the romance is super thin because where the hell was Rex?
That dude is a nobody.
Where the hell, like, this guy doesn't show up for his job, and so he's the better choice, I guess. But they do actually seem lovey-dovey. They look at each other very fondly in ways that like that the Tramp and Myrna don't. Myrna and Tramp look together, like at the circus, but Rex and Myrna look at each other. And I think that is also meant to speak more to like how you would communicate romance in a 1928 silent picture. So, but you know, and this also isn't totally silent. There's a song, and the song is certainly sung by Chaplin.
About her, as we're seeing her kind of like flying high, or not, kind of just sort of balancing high above the circus in these like little, I don't know, you call them the gymnast hoops that they use.
You know, look up. And that's echoed. We get that in The Great Dictator, look up to the sky, look up.
Yeah.
You know, so always looking onward and upward to the horizon and a possibility of a future that could be where we're happy. We can be happy up there in the sky, but where we are down here, don't look.
I don't want us to underestimate the horse donkey. Because
that's so good. That's such a good.
It's really good.
I think I laughed the hardest in this movie because you get it twice first, but it's always like the animals making eye contact with Chaplin and going like, it's you, and like running at him. And the third time, it's when he's like doing the bit.
Carrying
he's
the
like
plates, right?
He's carrying the plates. He's like in the stands. People in the stands are like hitting him. They're all laughing. And then just like out of the frame, the damn donkey just runs in, and I just lost it because it's just like it's all chaos. And then the donkey, it's like was in the hallway and went, it's that guy, and then was like.
I love that the donkey is like always already running when he comes onto the field.
It was just like
from very far away, or like heard him or smelled him.
It's so funny. Oh my gosh, it was
what ketamine? Like he swallows the horse pill,
Yeah, he's like goes from 1 to 100 when he sees Chaplin. And I like that's what I would want to know about the movie is like did they train that horse or donkey or whatever to be like that? And was it just randomly on set like running after Chaplin? Um it's really good. I mentioned the tightrope scene with the monkeys also. That's really good.
That's
It's
awesome.
one
Really
of
good.
it's one
Yeah.
of those things where you can kind of see what's going on, but like when it actually starts happening, it's great. It's crazy that he was able to like do that himself. That's one of those Chaplin bits that's always funny where you see him lose you see the guy lose the like the wire that's like holding him up,
Yeah.
but then Chaplin doesn't recognize it for a while and is just like, oh, like a woo,
I-
like doing stuff.
My
Um
is we know that he did it.
mhm.
We know that he learned how to walk a tightrope.
Was it that high?
That's what my question is.
Yeah, because you don't. I assumed it
don't know
was.
how high
Yeah.
because we saw him do the tightrope, maybe like 2 or 3 feet, and then we watch him like whip off the thing. That was also hilarious to watch him like roll around, and then he's trying to get up, but he keeps hitting the rope and he can't stand up. But my question is like, okay, what is the Chaplin estate, kind of concealing here?
Because you don't see the ground. You don't know how. Yeah.
Was
Right.
just,
Well,
full of
which begs
stuff.
the question: if this was Buster Keaton, would Buster Keaton have
Would
done it
he
up
go all the way?
high?
Oh yeah. Buster Keaton would not have let a gale derail his his as a Steamboat Bill Jr. attests to.
Also, Buster Keaton, I don't think got divorced as many times, so that wouldn't like mar the
I
production.
mean, he did hang around like Fatty Arbuckle and stuff, so I don't know how clean his hands
Dumb.
stayed.
Rotten hell.
Yeah.
Wait, what's the story on Fatty Arbuckle? I'm ignorant
Oh.
to this.
So, Fatty Arbuckle, he was like, he was also a big silent star at the time.
Massive
but
star.
What?
Massive star.
Massive. Fatty.
They didn't call him Fatty for nothing.
Yeah. But he was famous for, he was carrying on with this young woman, and I think he like promised her a career in Hollywood, and he fell through on that and absolutely humiliated her. And I think that there was some sexual assault there, and then she jumped off the Hollywood sign, killed herself. And so that's referenced in Day of the Locust, and then also in Kenneth Anger's Hollywood Babylon. But then also that incident started this whole sort of like publicity campaign of like trying to keep stars out of the press, because it was such negative, bad press for the Hollywood system, for Hollywood, for LA, for the film industry.
Poor Fatty Arbuckle.
Fatty
He didn't work after that.
Yeah, and so then all of these, then like Hollywood PR and like press agents started to come into play and like totally change the landscape of early Hollywood. So then that the stars, and also is like kind of, if you follow that thread, then we get like Hays Code. So then movies have to put forth like good values because of Fatty Arbuckle, selling these waters. Is nasty, no good deeds of assaulting women and then making them kill themselves. And
was Keaton buds with him after that?
I think he kept tabs on him. He definitely wasn't in like Keaton was kind of like a second banana to Fatty Arbuckle early in his career. And then that stuff happened, and then Keaton's star rose, and like he started doing all the stuff that we're more familiar with him in. And I don't think Fatty Arbuckle was ever in any of his movies, but he did like keep in touch with him.
So,
but Keaton would have walked the tightrope.
But Keaton would have walked tightrope, is what I'm saying. Up high.
So who else? Harold Lloyd would have too.
I also showed Jarvis the bit with him climbing the clock tower for Safety Last. Yeah. Because that's also in the Minions movie. Yeah.
They did that in Minions? Oh.
Yeah.
Can we do a podcast where we watch Minions and Monsters and like to compare the different the scenes?
Yeah. Yeah, we should.
What other references do they make in Minions
They do
and
the
Monsters?
train approaching the station.
Nice.
They do the factory. They like Forrest Gump the minions into the factory workers leaving. They. I mean,
if you look on the Minions and Monsters letterbox, it's the highest rated review is just like a list of film references.
Oh, really?
It's pretty expansive. It's also, I would say, not an amazing movie. So this is the funnest thing about it, is that it has all this stuff in it.
You know what's an amazing movie?
The Circus.
The Circus.
Freaking Circus.
But what about Fatty Arbuckle? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, what about Fatty Arbuckle?
I just gotta say, like, it is just a testament to like how much of an incredible hot streak Chaplin had at this moment, that like this is considered like a minor work in his filmography, because like Gold Rush, this, City Lights, Modern Times, like hitting all those things like within 10 years, like that is so wild to me. And that this is the kind of like, well, this is the one we don't talk about as much, is
Shoulder Arms is in there too. Yeah, we don't talk about Shoulder Arms a lot either.
Wait, what?
Shoulder Arms.
Shoulder Arms. I've not seen that either.
I don't know.
I haven't seen that in a while. I need to rewatch that.
Sorry,
is that a feature?
Do I have it in the set? Yeah, it's a feature.
Oh. It's Shoulder Arms. He's drafted, and then it's the he like.
Oh, the.
Are we sure that? Did he direct it?
Yes.
Oh.
I looking at the filmography on Letterboxd, and I do not see it in his directing.
Arms. SHOULDER.
Yeah, Shoulder.
Oh.
I don't know if he directed it though.
Never seen it.
He's in it.
No, he directed and written by it. I wonder. Oh, it's 1918 though.
My bad.
Earlier. Yeah.
Circus, bright lights, big tops, bigger smiles, bigger laughs. We have our sideshows. We've got the fabulous disappearing, reappearing Zach, the incredible thinking man, Michael O'Malley, then the beautiful sword swallowing lady, Alison Swafford over here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're all a circus act, and we're all under this big top called Terry.
Nice.
Zach, your audio just became really intense.
Yeah. Nancy just tried to FaceTime me in the middle of this podcast, so.
Oh, okay. Nancy.
That's a good indicator that, does anybody have anything else they'd like to share about?
Yeah,
I don't feel like I am maybe the person to elucidate this point, but I feel like there's probably something to be said about like vaudeville and like this movie like being more of like a self-conscious referential, like looking at movies as the evolution of vaudeville comedy, especially in the sequences where like Chaplin is being shown how they do the kind of like clownish comedy for the circus audience, and like him jumping right in there. But I don't know if anybody else has thoughts about that.
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have thoughts about that because that with like vaudeville and circus and sideshow acts, like that being the predominant form of entertainment, that when cinema came along, those acts didn't translate in the same way because you needed the sound for the jokes, for the punchline. So really all you had left was the physical comedy. And then this being in 1928, we have sound at this point. So here in a little bit, we're going to get the Marx Brothers, and they're a vaudeville. They're vaudeville like stage comedy. And then suddenly now we can have dialogue like bullets, like ricocheting back and forth, but you lose some of the physical comedy. They're still really great at physical comedy, but this is definitely like this is metatextual because Chaplin came up in those music halls in England. He trod the boards, as they say. He was a stage performer and a vaudeville performer. And that's where he gets all of this physicality and his timing, and the character of the tramp is a continuation of a vaudeville act of his. But he is, that's another reason why he's so special and so unique, is that he does not need the sound to continue his vaudeville act. Where you notice how, like, when they're teaching him how to do these vaudeville acts, they are saying a lot. There are jokes that are being made. It's the William Tell act. Now I have this bow, and they gesture, but the gestures aren't so funny to the bow and to the apple. It's not so funny to take the bite out of the apple, but the joke is that the apple gets smaller and smaller. But really, the joke is that apple had a worm, and I like banana better, so now banana on the head. Like to play within the visual without sound is really where Chaplin shines, and that's where a lot of these vaudeville acts get left behind, because they do voices, they sing in vaudeville, and he didn't need that. So it's a different kind of circus that we now have with the circus of cinema and moving image.
Yeah, that is exactly why I thought that I was not the person to elucidate on it. Thank you, Grace.
Welcome, darling.
Chaplin's great.
Chaplin's great.
It was nice I hadn't watched a Chaplin movie in a while, so it was nice.
Yeah, it was like
it was
kind of like a homecoming. I remember Modern Times was one of the first movies I watched as an adult when I was like self-consciously like, okay, I've liked movies for a long time, but like there's, like whatever, silent cinema, whatever, that always felt imposing, and like, oh, it's got to be an academic study. And I remember watching Modern Times like in my dorm room. And I'm like, hey.
This is just good. Yeah.
And then coming back to Chaplin, I mean, I had seen the Circus. I hadn't watched it in like 12 years or something like that. And it was really like, it was like nostalgic. It's like, like settling back into like this mode. I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, Ron. You picked a good one.
Thank you, Ron.
Well, that will wrap up our episode. This episode of Cinematary. If you would like to support the show, patreon.com/cinematary, and you too can pick a movie to make us watch next summer.
Last call.
This is the last call. We'll add some more, but you got to do it. You got to do it between now and whenever we do our next episode. But thank you to our patrons, Tyler Chandler, Cam, Michael's wife and aunt.
Who are different people. We should clarify.
Yeah, wife and wife space aunt. Teresa Marsthathi, Nathan Swan, Ron Hayes, Sam Shapiro.
We got some new people too.
Yeah.
The stupid Patreon app doesn't show me. I need to find a better way of like looking it up.
I do it on the desktop.
Yeah.
In the comments, go.
I'm sorry you joined our Patreon thinking that we were going to say your name at the end and we didn't.
Everybody thinks that, and it just doesn't ever happen.
If you give me a second, I can find it.
Zach.
Just never works.
Like, show's over. Bye.
See you later. Take that, patrons. One quick announcement. We learned this past week that we will be going to TIFF for what will be the 9th year for Cinematary.
Hell yeah.
Very excited. So be looking forward. It's just a couple weeks. It's what's the 5th? So close to a month away. We've gotten some titles out, but we'll be doing our usual thing. We'll have a wrap up podcast afterwards. I'm gonna try to be good and do some influencing and do some quick reviews out of movies. But I always on the Instagrams. But I always forget. I gotta be really vigilant on the Instagrams this time. And yeah, it's always fun. It's always crazy. It's crazy to me. I was thinking about it the other day that 9 years. Next year will be a decade of going to TIFF. I'm already penciling us in as getting in. So
the only patron we did not get was Mira TK.
Sorry, Mira TK. You're our favorite too. I mean,
this is your chance to make a Patreon.
Please, yeah, let's do it. Let's something. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening, and we will see you for our next and last Patreon pick as of now, which is going to be Perfect Days by the Vendors. Our pick. So until then, thanks for listening.